I think that's kind of the question that investors are asking, not why is this a manageable problem, but is it actively going to be managed? Why hasn't it been managed so far? And why has it been allowed to spread to this extent? And so there's an interesting divide here on that question of what Beijing will do about Evergrande between some of the economic analysts that I'm sure you're having a lot of people commenting on this on these shows. And the political analysts. Both kind of have a point. The economic analysts are making the argument that, look, there's so much contagion in China's property market that's possible if you have an Evergrande default, if you continue to see defaults on some of these bonds, payments to contractors and suppliers, that could cut liquidity chains throughout the economy, have an impact on employment, continue to impact property sales, and create broader financial stress. So why isn't Beijing stepping in? The political analysts have a different point, therefore, the economic analysts would argue that Beijing has no choice but to step in. The political analysts are making a different point, which is look at the campaigns over the summer against the tech companies. Look at what has happened to the education and tutoring companies. This is clearly a very different set of political priorities from Beijing, and the very fact that we haven't seen a response so far is indicative of that change in political priorities. And Beijing has also indicated that they really want to reduce the impact of the property sector on the economy as a whole. So therefore, you might have to see a lot more market tension spread before you see that kind of a response under this new political calculation. And right now, I think both sides have a point, but the political analysts have a bit more of the better side of the argument.
I'm really glad that you brought up the political angle here, Logan, because I'm wondering whether or not there is an international political angle as well. And let me explain. China is already under international scrutiny because of the theories about the origins of the virus. And I'm wondering if indeed Evergrande was left to its own devices and did get out of control and roiled global markets to the degree we've only really just had a little taste tester of. How much international scrutiny, therefore, would there be on what is going on with China's deleveraging program?
Right. I think one of the issues is that there's been a series of events in China it's not just Evergrande, and this is a longer term problem in China's financial system. We've had, an unprecedented 10+ year credit expansion in China. The deleveraging campaign really started in late 2016, started gaining momentum in 2018. And the property sector up until now has been sort of had a reprieve from that because they were able to supplement pre-sales financing rather than, succumbing to the worst of the deleveraging campaign back in 2018. So a lot of this financial stress has been building. Evergrande is certainly not the only developer facing financial distress right now. There have been others that have defaulted previously, and many people are noting that, look, if you look at Evergrande, it's exceptional because of its size. It's not necessarily exceptional because of its financing methods. So international attention, as I think, has been focused by some of the events that have taken place that look more like traditional emerging market kind of credit risks over the summer, with the tech crackdown, with the political campaign focusing on common prosperity, and the impact that has had on equity prices and risks. And as a result, there's a lot more attention on these issues now relative to what there would have been in the absence of that campaign. So I think it is a clarifying moment for global markets in starting to look at Chinese growth expectations differently.